Good afternoon and welcome to the Bailey Group Coronavirus Question and Answer session. This is the 8th week of these videos. So welcome to those who've stuck with us all the way through. Welcome to any new visitors that we have in our 8 videos. Not the normal scenario today. So we've got the 3 main things that we talk about: the furlough scheme, the self-employed scheme, and then the loans. Quite a bit on bounce back loans this week. So we'll talk about that in quite a bit of detail. So let's start off with the furlough loans. Oh yes, and I forgot, of course, at the end, our very popular questions and answers from our clients. Everyone likes those. So let's start at the top, shall we? Furloughs. So the furlough scheme, you will have all no doubt already received some money in April for your furloughed staff members. We heard this week from the Chancellor that he's going to extend the scheme until the end of October. There'll be some more stuff out at the end of May, and obviously that will come into one of our next videos whenever that comes out. We can go through it all for you. The good thing about the extension up to the end of October, of course, is that we'll be able to deal with staff who are part-time. So if you have to bring back staff on a part-time basis, then from what I understand, and again, please don't quote me on this until we can see the guidance, but what I can understand is that you'll be able to claim the 80% of the wages that you don't pay them, so when they're not working for you, which is brilliant because it means we can bring the staff back on a basis to suit the business, which is really important. Couple of figures here, really interesting. Apparently 7.5 million people have been furloughed. 7.5 million. Now the scheme obviously was to help people or help businesses where they thought they might have to let people go. So just think about that fact. 7.5 million people would have been made redundant had the scheme not been in place. Really, really important that. The government is spending more money on the scheme now and more money on all of the help around the business community, which is really good. We'll come on to a couple of issues with quite a few of the schemes later on in the video. So the furlough scheme, obviously, for those of you who are doing it yourself, we're into the second month realistically now. Obviously a little claim in March. April was the first big claim. We're now into May. Remember, you can, when you fill the form in online, if you're doing it yourself, you can only do it 14 days before the pay date. So if you're filling it online, put the pay date as the 29th of May, and you could do the form today because we're 14 days before the 29th of May. And 29th of May, for those of you who pay at the end of the month, is the payday. Those that pay the last Friday, it's the 29th of May. It's the same day. So we just need to make sure that you can do it 14 days beforehand, and then at least you'll get the money within 6 days. So you'll have the money in your bank before you have to pay the wages out. Remember, all of you, of course, you need to pay the pay-as-you-earn this week by the 22nd. Electronic payment only, remember, for a couple of years now. Just remember that. So even though the government are paying you for your wages, you still have to repay them for the pay-as-you-earn. Because remember, they are paying you the employer's national insurance, they are paying you the employer's pension, they are paying you the pay-as-you-earn that you deduct from the staff. So you need to pay the pay-as-you-earn. So remember that, keep paying the pay-as-you-earn. And obviously, just a final note on the furlough schemes, remember it is taxable. So it does add on to your profits, which means that you will be paying tax on it whenever we do your accounts. So remember that. So the next piece, self-employed scheme. This obviously opened up this week. Wednesday, I believe, was the first day that you could actually get an appointment, if you want to call it that. So the process is that you register, or you go online, you see if you're eligible for the scheme. That then gives you a date and a time slot. So for example, I believe mine was something like lunchtime on Wednesday. And so that tells you whether you're eligible or not. As soon as you know you're eligible, you can go into the scheme. Now you need a government gateway account for this. That is not the account that we use to submit your return. It's a personal gateway account. You have to go online, you have to get one. They'll send a code through. You put the code in with the gateway account number. It opens up in a new screen. You can then do this self-employed scheme. We can help you with it, but we cannot submit it for you. So clearly we can talk you through it, but we cannot submit it for you. HMRC have been very clear about this. We don't know why. We think it's because they want every taxpayer to have a taxpayer account for the upcoming Making Tax Digital that will happen next year. That's what we think, and this is the easy way to make them do it. Couple of things on that. It's very, very simple to use. You click through into this scheme. It asks you a couple of questions, verification questions really, and then it has all the numbers already in. So it has all your profit. It does all the calculations to divide it between the 3 years. It then divides it between the 12 months and then multiplies it by 3 to get the 3 months. Obviously, remember, you can only get a maximum of $2,500 a month, just like the employed scheme. But then, and then you have to put your bank details in, and it will pay out in 6 days. So those of you that have already done it this week, you should be able to get the money into your account next week, which is great. Just on those two, as I said before, furlough and self-employed scheme, they are both taxable, but they are both grants. They are not repayable. They are grants. So you can take the money, have the money, but you will pay tax on the money. They are a taxable benefit. So you've got to be careful about that. Remember, you are going to be paying tax. Now, in the self-employed scheme, we're getting quite a few phone calls, people who are not eligible thinking they would be. So if you're, remember the 3 simple rules. First thing is you've got to be trading in 2020 as well as 2019. So you've got to have an ongoing business that's been affected by the coronavirus. You've then also got to, your self-employment income has got to be more than 50% of your total income. So if you have another job, for example, maybe paying $30,000 a year, and you have self-employed income of only $20,000 a year, then you wouldn't be eligible because it's less than 50% of your total income. And finally, your self-employment income has got to be less than £50,000 a year. So those are the 3 things. And then obviously they then multiply it or add the 3 years up, or if it's only 1 year, then they average the 1 year. They then take the 3 months out of that, and that's the grant that you will get. Remember, it's a grant, not repayable. Onto the bounce back loans now. Excuse me, onto the bounce back loans. The bounce back loans, really, really simple. Couldn't be easier. If you have a business bank account with some of the major banks, most banks, I think there are 20 banks now that are doing these bounce back loans. The big 4 obviously are, some of the new ones are, Starling Bank is, and some of the other newer banks are. I had a client on talking about Nationwide. Not sure about Nationwide, to be honest with you. You might need to double check with them on their website to see if they are. So you probably need a business account. NatWest say you don't. So if you're only a little sole trader and you've only got a personal account, we had one of these this week when I was in the Ilkley office, that they were a haulage company and they only had a sole trader account. Doesn't matter, you can have the money paid into that if that's your main account for your business. Very, very simple form. You've got to fill in obviously your name, the date when you're actually applying, answer 12 or 13 questions about the business and has it been affected, how it's been affected. Important thing is you were profitable before the virus hit. So you couldn't have been insolvent before the virus hit, you need to be profitable before the virus hit. And then you put in your turnover. You're only allowed to have a loan of a maximum 25% of turnover, and the maximum loan is £50,000. Multiply up, £200,000 of turnover. So anything above that, so if you have a company that turns over £1 million, you're still only allowed 50,000. The good thing is the money's in your bank 48 hours. Bang. Do the form, send it off, it's there straight away. Really, really good. No major questions. So if you have 3 companies that are not connected, you can have 3 bounce back loans. A lot easier to claim than the bigger loans, a lot easier, and they are really, really simple to use. So simple, in fact, that one of our consistent contributors, you all remember him, David from Hartlepool. You remember we said Silly Billy David was on the wrong website when he was trying to claim one of the other grants. Well, Silly Billy David from Hartlepool isn't Silly Billy David from Hartlepool this week. He's very clever, David from Hartlepool. What's he done? Taken a bounce back loan, put it into an ISA, get some tax-free interest on it. Very well done, David. Good idea. Doesn't need the money particularly. His business, yes, it's gone down. There is no turnover in it at the moment. Got no contracts. But he's used all the grants that are available. He's borrowed the money just in case he needs it. It's interest-free, remember, and repayment-free for the first 12 months. So David's very cleverly thought about this. What's he going to do? Withdraw it from his ISA after 12 months and repay the loan. He'll get a bit of interest and he'll repay the loan. So he'll make a bit of money on the money. If he needs it, it's there. It's an instant access ISA, so he can draw it straight back out again. Really good idea, David. Well done on that. No longer a silly Billy, are we? Excellent, well done. A couple more questions that we had. As I said before, I was in our Ilkley office yesterday, and a young lady popped in who has some property, and she was asking me, and I know we have a lot of property people who watch the videos, she was saying to me that there was no real help for property people because they didn't employ anyone, so they couldn't claim the furlough scheme. They weren't counted as self-employed because the Inland Revenue don't count rental income as self-employed income, and therefore there was no help. So I said to her, well, how about a bounce back loan? Why don't you use a bounce back loan? She said, that's a very good idea. And she said, well, I've got some credit card bills. I could pay the borrow the money on the bounce back loan, pay the credit card bills off, and then in 12 months' time I can repay the loan, and I can use the profits of my business to help pay the credit cards off later down the line. That's a really good idea. And the rate, if you did want to actually continue to pay the bounce back loan, the rate is only 2.5% a year. So it's a really low rate of interest compared to credit cards. So again, making a bit of profit because you're paying less interest. Really good idea from one of our Ilkley clients there. The last question today is, you'll all remember my friend Mick, the bald barber. Well, Mick's jumping up and down now. Obviously, he's really happy. He's sharpening all his scissors, sharpening all his blades, ready to go on the 4th of July. Because I'll be the first one with you, Mick. I need my hair cutting, and I know a lot of the ladies out there need their hair doing as well. So the 4th of July is when it looks like the hairdressers are going to be open. Mick's question was, I've only been self-employed for a year. What can I claim? He's got no staff. He can still claim the self-employed scheme, because remember what I said, he was self-employed last year, self-employed continuing, and his business has been affected in the middle. So he's going to go on and claim the self-employed scheme to see what he can get from that. That's about it for today. Sorry about the lateness for this. We had a bit of a technical issue. You remember last week, my friends behind me, Sean and Benny, were having a VE Day party. Well, it all got a bit wrong, and they got a bit tipsy. So you'll notice there's no beer with them this week. I banned it for 7 days. They're very naughty. But what's happened? The golf course has opened. So Sean has got his golf trophies out. He's ready to go. He's going to get his golf bag out tomorrow, have a quick knock. He's got his friend, little Clanger, with him. He's probably going to go and carry his bags for him. We'll let you know how that goes on next week. So just remember, stay safe, people. We're coming out of it. You know where we're going now. I know the Boris's speech was slightly confusing, but we are on the way out of this now. Stay safe. Remember the rules, and please enjoy yourselves if you can at home. Have a barbecue. It's nice sunny weather. Thanks very much.